And we're back, folks, to another episode on the MVM Show. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. And I'm pretty pumped and excited. And I kind of feel guilty, to be honest with everybody. Ben Paige is here with me today. What's up, Ben?
What's up, man?
And this is why I feel guilty, because you had me on your podcast. Man, how long has that been now? Probably a year or more?
6 years. I think it was 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
Yeah.
So, like, you know what? Though? I'll give myself a little patting. You kind of fell off the face of the earth there for a little bit.
I don't know if that's true.
You didn't? I feel like you kind of did. Like, you weren't doing no more podcasts, so I kind of just assumed you were busy or something. I know you had a lot going on.
Yeah, I was pretty busy.
Yeah. You are, and just like you just text me, for everybody listening to this, I can send a text out of screenshot how busy you are. So, but no, I didn't even reach out to you, so I'm glad you came on. Sorry it's been so long, man. Can you just let us know where people can find you? You've been a really big help to the MVM show and giving and Mid Valley Mercenaries, just letting people know where to find us. So tell us where we can find you.
Oh, yeah. We run this terrible, god-awful podcast called the Fowl Front Waterfowl Podcast. It's really gone to crap in the last, 3 months.
Is it that Matt guy, Matt and Thomas guy?
Yeah, I let a bunch of degenerate YouTube people be my co-hosts, and it's really gone to hell.
Oh, man. So the Fowl Front Podcast, how's that going? You guys getting good downloads and starting to amp back up again, or what?
Yeah, man, it's going really good. I guess I should be I would say I'm pretty thankful for the listenership because, I think we did. We went 3 months with no podcast, or maybe maybe it was even 4 months. I was moving. I was going through a little transition, and I just didn't have the time or really motivation to do it.
Yeah.
But then, Matt and Thomas, and then Alex Wallace, they were like, "Hey, man, we're willing to help out." And I was like, "Well, perfect." That was the whole thing. When you the Fowl Front for a long time was just me going out and finding people to talk to.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's a lot of work. A lot more work than people think.
Yeah, sure. But unfortunately, what I've seen now is that I have other people that are willing to plan and help and talk, is that I've become kind of a malevolent factor in the show. So they'll come up with a plan, and I will just kind of derail the conversation quite a bit when it's not my plan. So I mean, it's more fun for me. I like picking on those guys because we're all good friends. But they've definitely talked about kicking me off the show. It's only 5
kicking
or 6
off your own show. Yeah,
which is fair.
You know what? Maybe
fair.
we're just control freaks, Ben, because supposedly I do all the talking too. But I'm like, hey, in a podcast, I like the intensity and the interrupting and the yelling and the fighting. That's what really makes an interesting podcast. So
yeah,
I told them, you guys just need to butt in and get more aggressive in this talking and just override me. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it's all that military stuff we had to just fight to survive. So maybe that's why we're like that. I don't know.
I think it's the morbid humor, the deprecating humor.
Yeah.
It's one of the things I kind of miss most about the comparison between military friends and civilian friends, right? Your military friends, you can say anything to them.
Yeah.
It's if they do something, you just let them know how you exactly feel about it, and you maybe scale that up a little bit, and they kind of look at you and they're like, "Ha."
Yeah. That's so true. I know. Yeah, that's got me in trouble a few times afterwards.
Yeah.
But let's get into. So guys, check out their podcast. They're gonna stay busy and keep the.
Oh, dude,
stuff.
I'm starting a YouTube channel this fall.
You are.
Yeah, I don't think any of my co-hosts know that. I'm gonna do it essentially as it's. I'm not doing it to make fun of them or belittle them at all, but that will be a point. That will be a constant. Your guys' Flyway Collective?
Yeah.
I'm going to position my show as your guys' arch nemesis show.
Oh, no. I can only imagine.
It'll be fun.
That sounds fun. I thought you've been talking about starting one for a while anyways. Didn't you kind of talk about doing one last year? Doing some video and stuff?
Yeah, I did. I did talk about that. Big talk. It's a lot harder. I don't think people really.
Do you have a channel name yet?
Wow.
Or is that a secret?
It'll be a secret. It'll be good.
Okay. Well, I'm looking for. You need to let me know when this happens.
Yeah, for sure. People like don't. That's the thing with free content like YouTube and podcasts. People don't really realize it actually does take a little bit of time. It's not the hardest thing in the world, but it takes a lot of time. Yeah,
you mean just social media in general, or are you talking about like YouTube?
Oh no, like YouTube or like producing content.
Oh yeah.
It always kind of irritates me when I see like a comment on like one of your guys' YouTubes like, this is terrible, or the straight up YouTube comments.
Yeah.
It always irritates me. It's weird.
Yeah, I know.
Like, that dude just spent he went out and he hunted, and also he added that extra factor of bringing a camera to him. He did that all for his own accord and his own entertainment and stuff, but then he sat down and then he edited it and put it into the public eye, and it's
just getting bashed.
Me. Yeah.
Yeah,
it hurts me a little bit.
Yeah, it's funny how people are. But, because everyone wants those $10,000 red cameras that are doing the slow-mo and perfect,
Yeah, I can't even spell red when it comes to, cameras. So.
You know what I mean? And the funny thing is we want that too, I want that quality too. I'd love to have that quality. I'd love to hire somebody to work full-time for me and do all my filming so I can actually enjoy the hunt to its fullest, because it does take a part away of your hunt for sure. But the memory later is always worth it. So
yeah, on the backside.
Well, let's get into the topic on this episode. Transitioning from.
Is it just you and me?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
Well, we're the only two military guys, so I don't really have any. I have a friend of mine that just got out too, and he actually just started working for a utility company here, and he was a Marine. I don't know if he was 6 or 8 years, something like that too. And he was down Southern California. Actually, he was back east too. But anyways, yeah. I do these a lot, Ben, because I don't really have nothing else in life to do. So my co-hosts, they're super busy.
Yeah, of course.
I just have all the time in the world, do podcasts
me too. Yeah,
a bunch of free time.
Yes, I understand.
I'm totally jabbing the knife right now because of that. Because supposedly I'm, I just got all the time in the world, and all these other people are super busy, like Ben Paige, that guy.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, so the transition part. Now, I was Army National Guard, so that wasn't full time, obviously, until deployment and just the training and stuff like that. So, but you've been active duty for how many years in the Army?
It would have been 7 and some change, and then not that I do count it, but some people do. There's ROTC in there as well, which I don't count that at all because it's
your audio. Oh, there it goes. Your audio went way down the.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There it goes. Yep. Came back up.
Yeah, so 7 and some change, the plus.
Okay.
The play Army in college.
Do you know how I feel about officers? Have I told you that before?
Ooh. No. Can I take? No, I'm not going to guess. Go ahead.
What? Go ahead. Say what.
No, because I would very much. I bet that you feel similarly.
To the same as you do?
Yeah.
I probably do, because you know why? Probably because you have common sense. That's probably why.
Well, what I found in the military is there's no mediocrity. There's only studs and there's only duds.
That's the truth.
You nailed it. Were you going to say that? You were going to say you either have awesome officers that you absolutely love,
you read my mind.
Or you've got dudes that you absolutely hate.
Pure hatred. And those guys, I'll tell you what, and I don't even know, how old have you been?
30.
You're young, man. You're making me feel.
Yeah, think.
Wow.
How
So
old are you?
I'm 36. I
Yeah.
thought you were older than that for some reason. Maybe it's just your maturity level. Well, anyways, did you so if you were in for almost 8 years, you're 30 now, you obviously did some other things first before you joined the military. What kind of jobs did you work? I mean, like, did you have a good upbringing? I mean, I'm sure you did. If you're from Nebraska, I'm sure you had a really good upbringing, you know?
Yeah. I would like to, my parents are like some of the best people I know.
Mm-hmm.
My jobs before going to college.
And I'm asking that for a reason. Go ahead. Sure.
Yeah. Well, my first job was detasseling. I don't know if, do you know what detasseling is?
I don't even know what that is.
So it's like child labor. That they force you. They make in Nebraska, every kid has to go into the cornfield and pick the tops off of it for Syngenta or for Pioneer.
Okay. You know? Oh, really? I didn't know they did that.
Yeah, you pick the tops off. You know, if you want.
Yeah, I know Syngenta. That's funny.
Yeah, you got X corn and you got Y corn. So you plant 1 row of X corn, 4 rows of Y corn, and the end result is that you want XY corn. Well, you don't want any YY corn, or so you have to go pick all the tops off the Y, so they don't pollinate. Called detasseling.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of work.
Oh, it's like for the little kids, it absolutely sucks. I think you can. I think I started when I was 11. I think you could start when you were 11. When I was growing up, now it's 12. I know for sure. It was 11 if you had the right birthday or something. But yeah, it's the little kids walking through the mud all day with the older kids walking behind them, making sure they're doing their job. And then, I mean, honestly, detasseling is a lot like the Army. You know, you get in and you start off and you're a grunt and you're just pulling 1 row. And then after a couple years, you become like a team leader. And so then you've got 4 kids that you're in charge of and walking behind them, making sure they're doing a good job. And then after that, you become a squad leader where you're walking behind 4 groups, going behind the team leaders and making sure they're doing a good job. And then eventually you end up just being a degenerate that sits on the bus and takes roll call and you have to fire the kids when they poop in each other's lunch boxes and things like that. So.
Dude, that sounds like an incredible smart system to make kids understand what real work is and how the chain system works, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
Why can't we have that everywhere? I've never heard of that.
I think it would be a good thing too.
No, for real, it would.
One, it gets the kids out of the parents' hair, right? They're not just sitting at home playing video games.
It takes all their energy away.
Oh yeah, because I mean, you have to wake up. The bus is leaving the parking lot of the school or wherever your meeting point is. The bus to go to the field is leaving before dark. So I mean, you're waking up at 5 a.m.
right?
In the summers, and then you work till I think we let the 12. We only let the 12-year-olds work till noon. That's a good 6 hours.
Oh, dude, they're beat after that, guaranteed.
Oh yeah, but then the older kids, the 14, 15-year-olds, they're working till 2. And then eventually you get up into the ranks where you're after you're done managing all the little kids, you're driving around to other cornfields and checking things or doing things for your boss. Yeah, I mean there were some days I would get home 4 p.m. but most days we were home by 2 or 3 p.m. and then we'd go float the river, drink all afternoon, and then wake up at 5 a.m.
So you learned how to be responsible and how to have a work ethic that's what I was driving at, is what you did before, because just even that detasseling and whatever else you did, it taught you structure. It taught you how to get up early. It taught you how to be responsible. It taught you what hard work is. And I don't know if did they pay you guys?
Yeah. I mean,
okay. Hardly pennies, right?
Course.
Well, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You get these officers that go on, how they act as leaders, their experiences as a young person or their experience prior to the military, because the reason I hated most officers, and when I say officers, I mean commission, because most of the warrant officers were pretty cool, but some of those guys were too big for their own shorts or whatever. But, you could tell the way they acted that they literally went out of high school right into the military and had no idea. Their parents never taught them how to sweep. They never taught them how to use a vacuum cleaner. They didn't, I mean, there was nothing taught there. And sometimes it's not the kid's fault necessarily, maybe the home was not that good or whatever. But then they just don't know. They don't have common sense. They don't have street smarts. They don't know how to work with others. You know what I'm saying? I know you've seen it.
Well, the other thing too with that, right? So you get out of college, whether you went to like the United States Military Academy or ROTC or OCS. Generally, I think by and large, OCS officers have a better starting point with soldiers, because they went to basic and then they went to OCS, which those are both different than ROTC or like a military academy, right?
Right.
But I think the thing is, right? Why? Imagine being 23 and you just spent like 4 years and then 6 months at your officer basic course, like leadership. You're going to go be, Dick Winters from, Band of Brothers. And so they get out there and they're just full of fire, right? And then they get paired up with a sergeant first class, right? Who's, a salty guy and has been around. He's their platoon sergeant. And if they don't have that initial NCO that is there to mentor them and mold them and be like, hey, sir, like, listen, that's not how you behave, or that's not how you do that. They really screwed. They're screwed, right? Because they don't get humbled. I don't know.
But why is it those guys that move up the chain? I feel like those are the guys that always end up getting the promotion and always get to be in charge. I'm like, why? You know what? And I know every place is different. Every unit's different, because I've talked to lots of people and they're like, I loved my unit. I loved my commander, all my commanders that I had over the years. And, and it's like, I just felt like, just got the bad end of the stick. But I know, that's just part of the deal. That just happened to be who it was.
I think I should maybe preface this conversation too. If you were, it wouldn't be good to ask, because you wouldn't get the full story, right? So I would tell you, I am, I was relegated a lot to like medicine. Initially, like very bad taste in people's mouths.
You were?
Yes.
Why is that?
Because I was hard. But anybody that worked with me longer than 2 months would tell you, like, I mean, I had a reputation as a captain, like amongst the lieutenants. Like, I was generally like, oh, shit, you don't want to go work with Captain Paige. And anybody that worked with me longer than 2 months would tell you a different story. I don't know. That's just kind of how I was. I was kind of, I don't know, maybe like a learned thing, but I keep in good contact with some of my first FOs, younger guys, to some of the lieutenants that I mentored just as recently as like 6 months ago. And I don't know.
So what's the transition been like for you? I mean, you were 7 years in there, almost 8. Was it like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, are you feel like you have something missing, or are you really enjoying it, or what's it feel like for you?
Both. So it's awesome to be able to sleep until 8 a.m., man, if I want to.
Right.
There's not a lot of mornings where I do, but just having the option to be able to do that is pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
And then having the freedom too, where even though like I'm in a salary job now, and there's times I work till like 11 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
But just it's a lot easier to leave work and where I'm at. I can just leave work and I can go be a dad and a husband or just Ben,
Right.
Whereas in the military, like you've like 24/7, man. Like you've got daughters and sons and brothers and sisters and husbands and wives that like you're charged with the leadership of those people. And that could include everything from picking them up from jail if they get a DUI or
wow,
going to a soccer game to just show that, you're that guy for their kid,
Yeah.
Just things of that nature. Just kind of like the whole 360 leadership thing. And it's kind of nice not being held to like knowing that there's like people that are relying on me 24/7 to be everything that I can be for them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's nice not having that burden, but I do miss that. I miss being like super important to people.
Yeah. And you're needed and I know what you're saying. Yeah.
It's nice. I still get questions, mentorship questions and things like that from people that I've worked with in the past, which that kind of gives me a little bit of, oh yay, I'm still important to this person that's still in the military. But
so what are you doing now? Can you say, or like, okay.
So I, in the simplest terms, I help state agencies like Fish and Wildlife agencies sell more hunting and fishing licenses.
Really?
Yeah. So the company that I work for, we provide the technical infrastructure and like software for them to sell hunting and fishing licenses. So if you go to Walmart in one of our states that is one of our clients, or if you buy your license online, fishing, hunting, even camping in some instances, all of that software and the things that allowed you to be able to do that is my company that I work for.
That's cool.
And so my job is to figure out how we do like automated marketing campaigns, different things to do so that we can sell more hunting and fishing licenses through like R3 efforts, both like with software things like auto renew, email campaigns, reminding people at the right time, like, hey, you bought a fishing license last year around this time. It's going to be a great weekend this weekend. Do you want to buy your fishing license again and go out again?
How often does that work?
Nature. Say again?
How often does that work, like that strategy?
Oh, I mean, that's just like one of a million things, right? It's, it is like marketing. It's, what's interesting, there's a huge rise, right, in fishing license sales this summer because of COVID.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've heard that, and I'm starting to think that's how duck season's going to be too. I
hope so.
You do?
And we all, I think we should all, well, okay, so selfishly, right? Yeah, there's like, I want to see more people.
Well, let me clear that up though. And I'm not saying because of new hunters. It's great. In fact, my daughter's finishing up her hunter safety. She's 11 right now, so she's gonna go on some hunts this year. I don't mean it like that. I'm just like you said, it is kind of being selfish. Like, okay, now there's more people putting in. You can't get in. I'm just kind of messing around, but yeah.
Yeah, we all do that. Like, we personally don't want to have to deal with more competition in the mornings, right?
Yeah.
But I think we need to rewire our thinking on that because, dude, we are in decline.
Yeah.
Hunting licenses are down.
Well, you see those numbers, right, all the time.
Yeah, I mean, we can all see those numbers. Like, they get published all the time. But, hunting numbers are down, and it might not reflect on public land right now because you're not seeing that. You might see more people in the marsh every year, But that's another issue in itself, right? Why
Yeah.
are there less hunting licenses, but everything's more crowded?
Right.
What is that? Is that because of leasing? Is it because of we have less public lands, we have less access, or we have a generation of hunters that are only picking the low-hanging fruit?
Yeah. Or
what is
just
it,
buying.
you know?
Maybe there was more because of money. Maybe there was more money and more people were buying it, not necessarily using it. But the same people that are buying them every year are the same ones out in the marsh every year. So that can make those numbers look kind of weird too, I would think.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
anyways, so that's what I do.
Okay.
I work with, different states, and we just try to help them sell as many hunting and fishing licenses as we can, because, I mean, it's really like at the root of it, even though of course it's like, that's a business, right? To
Mhm.
do that, to make it money. But I'm just glad that I have like such a noble cause to work on every day. When I
Yeah.
wake up in the morning, I'm like,
Mhm.
I say to myself in the mirror, I said, let's go sell some effing fishing licenses today. Let's go sell some effing hunting licenses today. That's kind of,
cool. Yeah.
so it's really nice to be able to wake up and have like a good cause.
Yeah, like an actual
to
good
put your
purpose.
pants on
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is really cool. So back to kind of, now that you're transitioned to that and that's your civilian job, how's that? There's actually surprisingly a lot of military and veteran people that listen to the podcast, I know, and because some of our best downloads are on the military stuff. What would you say to some of these guys that have ETS or getting ready to ETS and get out, or maybe they got a year or two left on their contract? What could you tell them to kind of help them
Shaping operations,
shaping?
right? Shaping operations, right? So when we plan, like when you're planning I don't know, let's just call it like we're gonna go like attack an objective California, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's the main effort, and then there's like shaping operation 1, shaping operation 2. Well, if your main effort is like, oh hey, I'm gonna transition out of the military, okay, that's not a good main effort. You need to start doing things like start thinking about, okay, what am I going to do when I get out of the Army?
Yeah, gotcha.
And start shaping that. For me, it was the Fowl Front Podcast. Like I wanted to work in the outdoors industry in some sort of marketing capacity. I didn't know where it was going to take me, but I knew that if I, kind of established myself and practiced some things, and gained a little bit of credibility in that market,
Mm-hmm.
that would allow me to put my foot in a door somewhere.
Yeah.
I was extremely fortunate, and I don't want to discount that at all. I was extremely fortunate that my current boss was somebody that I'd just been connecting with over the last couple of years, but it was because of my podcast.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, things like that. And you have to, obviously, when you're in the military, like, and you know this, when you wake up in the morning, like if you don't go to your job trying to be like the best dude or the best leader or the best pilot for you, right? Or whatever it is that you're doing, crew chief, if you're not doing that, obviously, like I don't know how you can go to bed at night, knowing that like you got one over on the day.
Yeah.
By hanging out in the barracks or whatever it is that you're doing. But also, like, don't underestimate that free time. That free time needs to be spent shaping your future operations, like what you're going to be doing. Do a side gig. Talk to your commander.
Get something built up in advance.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to like let's say you're like a communications specialist or something, but like for sure shit fire fact that you want to go be a BNSF or like a railroad worker, welder or something like that. Start doing those classes because there are programs. The military is awesome. There's they've got TAP and Soldier for Life. People look at those as like really dumb things that they have to do to get out, but there's some sweet deals in there. to set yourself up for a good transition.
I had to reset both these. You were talking about building up. Prior to, coming out and everything. So, which reminds me of my job. Like, I feel like I'm fortunate and blessed to have my job. And if YouTube really takes off and the podcast really takes off, I'll actually be in a great position, because the job I have right now is I'm doing medevac. I don't know what people call it. Life flight, care flight, air ambulance, whatever people want to call it. But what's cool about it is I'm on 7 days and I'm off 7 days. So it gives me a lot of opportunity on those off days to go film, to hunt, to edit podcasts. But the cool part is, while I'm at work, I'm waiting for a phone call if someone gets in a car accident or shooting, stabbing, whatever, anything like that. I can, by the company's rules, I can take my time to do whatever I want while I'm waiting for that call, as long as I'm ready to go. So I know people that have built up cars from the ground up, literally at the site. I personally do editing the podcast, editing videos. I'll do this winter for duck season. I'll be editing my videos a lot there. So I'm getting paid for my job while I'm getting paid to edit my own stuff, and I'm not taking time away from my family. So now when I am home, I don't have to sit in the office and edit for hours, So you're talking about taking advantage of the time you have. The military, there was a lot more things that the military did offer me that I never took for advantage of, and I wish now I would have, So like you're saying,
there's
Ben,
programs. I don't think there's an organization out there. I mean, obviously I could be wrong. It's more committed to providing resources to the people that are leaving that organization than the military is. And for instance, I took advantage of what was called the Career Skills Program, where my unit they were going on a training rotation to Korea, and I was supposed to get out in May. And I talked to my boss. I said, "Hey, sir, like, I can stick around till May, and et cetera. But hey, I'm getting out." And he said, "Well, why don't you just not go with us to Korea?" And I was like, "Well, okay, what am I going to do for 4 months until it's time for me to get out of the Army?" And turns out there's this thing called the Career Skills Program, where you can go work, do an internship, or an internship or an externship. And you still get your military pay, but you're working for the company that you're going to be working for.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you did with this job you have now?
Well, actually, I initially, this job opportunity that I'm in right now didn't pop up until I was already in the program, and you can't switch. So it's only, you can't switch. You can only do it for one company. So I was working with a construction company as an assistant construction manager. So that's what I did, but it allowed me to be in Lincoln, to find a house, to get my roots here, and be with my family away from the Army while I'm still working and connecting, and then working with this construction company. It's just, right at the end of that is when this job opportunity came up. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So is this something you see yourself retiring in doing, or what do you think?
I don't see myself leaving this job unless it's forcible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know what's better than that, right? Helping Okay, so I'll take that back. What is better than that? Helping an individual person through their journey in hunting. That is extremely fulfilling. Now, if I can multiply that and be like a force multiplier for that by helping state agencies do that and sell more hunting and fishing licenses, like, that's where I need to be, right?
Right.
So.
Right. Well, do you got any crazy stories of, like, your time in the military, or things that happened that you can share with us on the show? I'm sure we've all got plenty.
We all do, right?
Some we can share, some we can't.
That's for damn sure right there. Yeah, I don't. If I look back on my time in the military, and if I were to like pick out a couple stories, it wouldn't do just all the stories, right?
Right.
And you know what it's like. There's so many of them. I don't know. One of the coolest stories, I think one of my favorite stories is we got like air inserted into this observation. So I was a fire officer, like a fire support officer.
Mm-hmm.
And for anybody listening that doesn't know what that is, it's if you see in the movies the guy that's like calling in airstrikes and artillery and things like that, that was like one of my guys.
Gotcha.
And so I did that at like the higher level where I kind of coordinated those guys. But we got air inserted into this observation post. So the plan was we were doing an artillery raid, which an artillery raid is where they deep insert an artillery asset, like very close to the front line or beyond the front line, either through air insertion or just, moving your artillery guns, up to a position so you can do like strike a deep target or something like that. And so for this instance, we were flying in a platoon of 777s. And this is a training exercise. It's not like in real combat or anything. But so they air inserted this 777 howitzer platoon beyond, I guess, enemy lines, where we were also air inserted on this OP. And I don't know, we just basically got to hang out in this like little village for 3 or 4 days, just keeping a really low profile, trying not to get spotted by the bad guys, and just being out there with like the team for that long, and then actually getting to do like air insertions where they drop us off, hike in. But while we were out there, our division artillery commander came out and visited with us, and was just hanging out. And of course, he pulls everybody aside and was like asking them different questions about the organization. And at the time, I didn't have like a real great direct first line supervisor. And so I was like super nervous that the Divardi commander was like pulling my like privates over to like talk to them individually. And I'm like, oh, what are they going to say?
Yeah.
Oh, what are they going to say? Well, he leaves, no later than like 45 minutes. I get like a call on the radio, like admin call, like, hey, we need you back in the talk now. And I was like, oh, crap. What did you guys say?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And essentially, what ended up happening is I was like, we got this fire mission going off like here shortly. And so I didn't go. And that, I guess, created a pretty big shitstorm back at the talk.
Mm.
I guess this is a really dumb story, but I ended up getting like in big trouble for not going back because I thought it was dumb. And, all the bad leaders in the organization like reamed me, but then like 2 of the good leaders came up, and they were, and these are like higher level officers and COs, like, hey, you did the right thing. And just kind of like knowing that you gained the respect of, it's not like I obeyed it, like
disobeyed a direct order. Yeah.
No, I didn't do that. It was just like, guys, what are like,
this is a waste. This is stupid.
Yeah, I had a.
That's what I'm saying. That's where your common
yeah.
sense of your raising and just how you were as a person bled over into, common sense as an officer in the military, instead of just, like you said, the dumb officers that no one respected were mad at you, but who gives a care what those guys think? Because those are a dime a dozen,
so I was like fired for like 2 hours and just like sitting there like, oh, I guess I'm going to go be like a supply officer now or something.
That's
and then the boss walks in, the big boss, and he's like, get your butt back out on the OP. What are you doing back here? And I was like, roger that. And then like we had a pretty interesting like air went black while we were getting exfilled. And it was when we were up in the bird when the air went black, and the guy was like, hey, where's your talk? And I was like, you can just put us down right here. We'll walk the rest of the way back. And it was like 5 kilometers still out. He was like, thank you. And set us down. And then he headed back to base. So,
oh, man.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's
got
cool.
Got to do the buzz saw. You know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I felt like a real American hero out there doing that. Tell you that.
Oh, what's so funny, when we were in Afghanistan, it was a really bad firefight going on, and it was at night, and so we always went into Blackhawks, and I was in chase, I believe.
You were a crew chief, or were you a pilot?
Crew chief, yeah.
Crew chief.
And we were on our way into, I would guess it was kind of a semi-hot LZ, and knuckleheads, yeah, we got a buzzsaw going, you know, so we see the buzzsaw going. There's only one. There's no, I mean, it's just, you're in the middle of the desert, right? And you're like, okay, there's the buzzsaw, easy. We all agreed and confirmed, the pilots and the crew chief and medic were like, that's it. We go in there and land, and they're like, oh, it's not this one, it's the other one. And then finally the guy where we're supposed to land started doing the buzzsaw, and it was like, you guys literally were in Afghanistan. It's not really a time to make those kind of stupid mistakes, you know? So stupid. Like something you would do in training with a E1 or something that doesn't know what they're doing. Not when you're in country, you know. Kind of critical right now, and there's dudes bleeding out, you know.
Yeah.
You reminded me of that when you started talking about a buzzsaw. Let's talk about how stupid that was. You can see those things really good under goggles, though.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
I always laugh when my dad's like, he got some night vision or whatever. Mm-hmm. He was like, oh, this is so cool. And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm the same way. Everyone at work, because we have, I think most all medevac air ambulance places have to have NVGs now, I think. Sure. But when I did it before I left for deployment, we didn't have them. And
I see a PVS 14 or night vision or anything like that, and I just think of all of the freaking times that I had to stay late while we were looking for somebody's lost night vision. Goodness.
Well,
good God,
I've got so many thousands of hours flying at night without goggles, right, on the civilian side. So to be honest with you, I almost don't like them. It's like, I just, there's certain times flying in the foothills or flying over mountains, over passes, where okay, these are really handy. But when we're flying here in the Central Valley of California, I mean, it's all lit up like a Christmas tree. You know what I mean? You don't really need it, but yeah, I'm just the other night I was sitting on the top of the helipad at the airport or the hospital, waiting for the crew to come back up, and I was looking through them and seeing a comet, man. A really good long tail on that thing. You couldn't see it with the naked eye, only with the goggles. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You see some neat things, but yeah, like you said, everybody at work's like, "Oh, these are so awesome." I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I almost get heartburn when I see them, because it's
yeah, because you're in a different position. You were responsible.
You know how many people have just sat around looking through wall lockers and dumping their bag out multiple times because one freaking dude, either private first class or a second lieutenant.
Yep. Not to name any names or anything.
Didn't oh no. Yeah. Last time I saw my night vision goggles was 3 nights ago, and it's what?
I wonder what would they do to you if in the military, if you did end up losing them permanently? What is that, loss of rank and pay, or depends?
I mean, yeah, sure. I've seen instances where it's okay, kid lost his nods, and everybody looks for him. Usually you end up finding him, but there's there's always that one instance where nope, you can't find him, and so everybody gets held until 2 or 3 in the morning or 6 a.m. the next day or whatever it is, and they give up and they say, all right. Then there becomes an investigation, and then from the investigation comes a wash bar flipple or whatever, and yeah,
a lot of paperwork for you.
Fortunately, I never we didn't have any big losses that were in my line of custody, which was nice. So.
Yeah. Well, man, I kept you a little bit long. I just looked at the time. I kept you a little longer than I asked, but I'm glad we got to hook up, and you had a couple more ideas for podcasts. We're going to have Ben back on the show again and do a little bit more waterfowl related content. But he had this idea, and I thought it was a great idea, transitioning, because I know there's probably a lot of people. There's always someone transitioning.
Oh, and we didn't even talk about that, man.
I know we just kind of bounced around.
Yeah, if you're like sitting there at the end of your, like, okay, I'm about a year out or 6 months out or whatever, that is the time. Like, you need to be shaping like what you're doing.
Yeah, totally.
So,
and like you said, even before then, just what am I going to do with this? Because I think people sometimes go in the military, pick a career or MOS in the military. Well, Army is MOS. Whatever, all the other ones. And they don't really think about how they're going to use that afterwards, unless they plan on staying in for 20 plus years, But
yeah,
that kind of helps you out too. If you're thinking about getting in the military, you definitely want to take a close look at what could benefit you later on down the road once you get out. So anyways, guys, check Ben out, Ben Paige, and all those guys over there on the Fowl Front Podcast. They're on every platform, I believe, right, Ben?
Sure.
Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify, all that good stuff.
Wherever you can listen to a podcast, I hope
it's on there.
If not, let me know, and I'll fix myself.
You got a Facebook page or anything too?
We've got a waterfowl. We got a Fowl Front Waterfowl Podcast group. Like where you can. I'm hardly ever in there, but
yeah. But then you guys can check that out if you want to dive into some more of that stuff. And so, all right, guys. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks, Ben, for coming on, and we'll see you guys on the next one.